US President Joe Biden will announce a plan to get more humanitarian aid into Gaza as he delivers his State of the Union address later today, our time. In the closely watched speech, the president will also outline his vision for a second term ahead of November's presidential election. Our North America correspondent Barbara Miller joins us from outside Congress in Washington. Barbara, good morning to you. So what do we know so far about this big announcement on Gaza?
Yeah, good morning. Not so many details so far, but what we understand is that the US military will be involved in establishing some kind of emergency port on the Gaza coastline, probably involving a floating pier. Now, administration officials backgrounded the media on this initiative hours ahead of this State of the Union address, an indication, I think, of the pressure that the president is under over his policy on the Gaza war. The progressive wing of his own party, along with many younger voters, angry that he hasn't taken a stronger line with Israel and put in stronger calls for a ceasefire. So I don't know if we'll get more details in the speech because he has so much to get through of what exactly this initiative is, but interesting that he's using the State of the Union address to announce this initiative to try and get more humanitarian aid into Gaza. Beyond that, Michael, what he'll have to do is sell his achievements in his time in office so far. And all eyes will be on whether the president stumbles or makes any gaffes. Of course, there's a lot of attention on his age. He's 81. Were he to see out a second term, he'd be 86 by the time he handed over. So people really looking to see whether we'll see any confusion on the part of the president tonight. One more thing we'll be looking out for. We saw some heckling in recent years, in particular last year, from the MAGA wing of the Republican Party. The president getting into quite a vigorous to and fro there. Marjorie Taylor Greene was heckling out from the audience, calling the president a liar. We understand that the GOP Speaker of the House has asked for members to take the temperature down a little, but it will be interesting in this crucial election year to see whether the president faces that kind of interjection from his political opponents.
And also, Julian Assange's brother, Barbara, is expected to attend the event. Tell us about that.
That's right. So there's a lot of attention always on who the First Lady's guests are, who Joe Biden's guests are this year. She, for example, has a woman who has been unable to go through with an IVF procedure following that ruling in Alabama, which put the IVF industry in doubt there. So clear that abortion, IVF, reproductive rights are going to be a theme here. But beyond that, members of Congress are allowed to bring a guest in, and member Thomas Massey has decided to bring in Gabriel Shipton, Julian Assange's brother, who's been here in DC for a couple of weeks, lobbying on behalf of his brother, calling for the charges against him and that extradition request against him to be dropped. We caught up with him just a little while ago and asked him what he realistically hoped to achieve here.
This is a very long fight, and we're always looking for ways to remind people of what's going on and what's happening to Julian, but also to remind Joe Biden that there is a family at the centre of this, family that's been torn apart. Julian has two young children, a 5 and a 6-year-old son, as well as his wife Stella, and really reach out and hope for some compassion from the president.
Now, Joe Biden is not supposed to use this address as a campaign speech, but in an election year, pretty much everything he does will be taken as some kind of campaign event. And it must be on Joe Biden's mind that if things don't go well for him tonight and if over the course of the next 8 months before the November election, that this could be his final State of the Union address.